And that's certainly like something we have to do. It's a call for action, and that's exactly what we're here for today. So turning the wheel now to our next panel, reinventing the factory floor. Well, if there's any sector that embodies German engineering, it's certainly automotive. And Porsche, or I quite like the English term Porsche, is clearly the worldwide brand for iconic cars. That's why I'm very excited to welcome Albrecht Reimold, member of the executive board of Porsche, responsible for productions and logistics, and Professor Horst Wildemann, Schum professor, as well as industry leader who has shaped the automotive world for decades. But beyond all that, Professor Wildemann is the founder of MMK. Already over 30 years ago, when nobody even knew the term network, he invited his industry network to the university campus. And by now, MMK is Germany's leading conference where industry meets academia. So the floor is yours. Give a big hand for Professor Wildemann and Albrecht Reimold joining the stage.
Vielen Dank, meine Damen und Herren. Ich komme mir ja schon vor wie aus der Zeit gefallen. In der Schule habe ich Latein gelernt und Russisch. Heute spricht man Englisch und vielleicht auch noch manchmal Deutsch. Ich werde es mal versuchen, die Einleitung hier zu machen, denn ich habe die große Ehre, Herrn Albrecht Reimold vorzustellen. Und wir haben eine gemeinsame Vergangenheit in der Autoindustrie. Und ich darf erinnern, dass Herr Reimold sozusagen Eingeborener dieser Gegend ist. Er kommt von hier, gar nicht weit weg, 30 Kilometer weit weg sind Sie hier geboren. Aber ich habe Sie kennengelernt, da waren Sie Werksleiter hier über Jahre bei Audi. Und man muss ja ein bisschen einordnen, auch diese AI-Seite, die wir zurzeit machen. Und ich denke, wir können das ein bisschen über die Zeit sehen. Ich beobachte natürlich die Autoindustrie schon über 30 Jahre. Und wir haben eigentlich nie aufgehört, über Effizienz zu reden, über Transparenz zu reden. Und wir reden heute darüber, dass wir bessere Planungen haben. Also die Dinge gehen weiter. Vielleicht, und das ist ja schon Realität, werden wir auch autonome Dinge mit AI umsetzen können. Und Herr Reimold wird einige Beispiele dafür sagen. Heute macht er das für Porsche, gar nicht weit weg, als Porsche-Vorstand für die Produktion. Ich habe gelernt, was das AI immer eingebettet ist in 3 Dingen. Zunächst einmal, ohne Domain-Know-how sind die Anfangshypothesen für AI auch nur halb so viel wert. Das Domain-Know-how spielt nach wie vor eine große Rolle in dem Umfeld. Dann natürlich auch die Rolle, die man selbst spielt, aus welcher Perspektive heraus man das macht. Und der dritte große Punkt ist, dass immer neue Technologien hinzukommen. Ich darf den nächsten Referenten vorstellen, den habe ich kennengelernt, da war er Spezialist für das Biegen von Aluminiumblech. Es war eine ganz große Herausforderung, das klappte hinten und vorne nicht. Wir brauchten neue Werkzeuge, wir brauchten andere Dinge. Danach war das Thema Reduzierung von Gewicht in den Karosserien ganz groß. Das Ergebnis war unterschiedliche Materialien, eben nicht mehr nur Blech, um dann einige 100 Kilo Gewicht aus den Karosserien herauszunehmen. Eine ganz große Herausforderung war, dieses unterschiedliche Materialien zusammenzubringen zu einer großen Steifigkeit. Das Thema Digitalisierung hat die Autoindustrie in einer ähnlichen Weise revolutioniert, wie das jetzt AI machen wird. Wir haben Quantensprünge erreicht, es geht immer irgendwo weiter. Und man kann das Ganze einordnen, vielleicht in diese 3 Dinge. Es geht nach wie vor um Automatisierung, aber mit einer anderen Perspektive. Die Automatisierung, die wir in der Vergangenheit gemacht haben, war immer Substitution, primär Substitution, menschliche Arbeit ersetzt durch Technologie. Heute gehen wir in einen Dialog hinein und der Mensch ist Teil dieser Automatisierungsstrategie und wir automatisieren dort, wo es wirtschaftlich ist. Wir haben natürlich sehr viele Dinge, die parallel laufen und umgesetzt werden. Also das Spektrum der AI-Anwendungen ist sehr, sehr weit. Und wir sind gespannt, Herr Reimold, auf Ihre Ausführungen. Bitte.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to stay here, and thank you for the invitation of Professor Wildemann. To understand what I sent for main messages, I've separated my presentation into 3 or 4 parts. The first is about the history of Porsche, how we act and how we handle our strategy. Second is I will present you some examples how we use AI in our daily doing. And third, it's for me a main element how we motivate our employees to use AI. Because without qualification and without the right behavior, it's only maybe an article in a newspaper, and to present it at the end of the day, you have to have a company who is IA determined, and then you are successful. And if you look back to Porsche, we have not always good phases in our history. First, after the Second World War, Ferry Porsche developed 356, and this car was not needed after the Second World War, but everybody wants it, and it's one of our steps to be a successful company. But if you are in love with success, then sometimes you forget something, and in the 90s, we trust too much to the American market, and then we lose a lot of money, and we have to have made a turnaround, and you need the employees and to switch how we act in our company. And for me, one very courageous decisions we made was the SUV. Nearly 2002, everybody in the company, about 40 to 50%, speak about it's a great mistake. A SUV can't be a sports car. At the end of the day, today, more than 40% of our revenue is based on SUVs, a right decision. And the same in the year 2015 with the Mission E. You can talk and discuss about Taycan. For me, it's a great success because the technology, all the awards that Taycan get, and for me is e-mobility, mobility more than performance. I am here today with the new Cayenne, more than 1,000 horsepower, and it's I love to drive it. And therefore, that's the history. Based on this history, you have a lot of other automotive changes. We have electrification, digitalization, Professor Wildemann explained it, and connectivity, and you all here, and sometimes you use it. Connectivity is always not 100% function. Software is very difficult, and we have to learn it to be better and better. And on the other side, unexpected events like wars and so on, then stricter legislation and new players in the market. We like competition. We are coming out of motorsport, but not all competitors drive with the same rule as we in European market, and that's a little bit dangerous. And then third, and then I stop with all to explain the reasons we have in this uncertainty many transformations. For example, the custom requirements in China are completely difficult, more different than in Germany. In Germany, the typical customer is about 50 years, and in China we have 30, 35 years, and female and so on. We have to learn it. Then on the other side, we have disruptive technologies, and one element I want to discuss with you is the so-called work-life balance in Germany especially. In other regions, people work 6 days, 7 days, and whole over the day, always measuring the things, and we discuss about work-life balance. That's not the right behavior to be successful. And one element on the right side, sustainability. I'm a sponsor in the board for sustainability, and we fight very hard to fulfill all the targets. And now in America, we have one in front of, he said, sustainability is not necessary. I say, sustainability is important and necessary. Therefore, we have to fight to be in front of and to measure all these elements, because in 5 to 10 years, we saw the result, and then we are disappointed. Therefore, sustainability is very important, and profitability is for me a main issue. We are a company to earn money, and we are not a university. We have to earn money, and that's the elements we are based. And now the question is, what is our strategy to fulfill all these requests? And for me, it's clear we have to support our brand and to develop it. And you can support a brand and develop if you have to order the right product lines from the 11 to Panamera. We have to fight. And all these elements of the cars have to fulfill all the requests of the customers. You do it with the right processes, end-to-end processes, and with the right technology, for example, AI. We develop cars with AI, we make toolings with AI, and so on. I give you some examples. And this, we do all with the employees, and they have to have the right behavior. It was discussed before. How do you do the leadership? You have to do every day the motivation. But you have to also measure the results. Only to say, yes, you are good, it's not the right thing. You have to fulfill the targets, and then you can say, okay, you are good. And sometimes we forget it. And this all flew in the strategy 2030. And for me, it's my point of view. Sometimes in company, strategy is always for management conferences. You present 30 charts and you hope all people understand it. For me, strategy, everyday work, every week, every month. And sometimes we have to correct it because the customer's behavior change. And you cannot do like a 5-year plan. You have to correct it. And all of the investors, they say, okay, we are disappointed about your results, but we have to do it. And Porsche measured the strategy of the year 2030, and we correct it, and we produce now and develop now a little bit more ICEs, but we don't forget the BEV cars, because BEVs are necessary for the sustainability. Okay. I'm a production officer, and therefore we switch now to production. I'm not in the comfortable situation like Mr. Scharnowski. I have only a short-term contract and not for the next 10 years. And therefore I have to fight every day for the results and hope to be more there. We have in Zuffenhausen a production site with the 911 and the Taycan. Then in Saxony, the Macan Panamera and the Macan Electric. And we produce for our sister brand, Bentley, the body in whites, because it's the same platform of Panamera. And in Bratislava, where I stayed for 4.5 years, a very successful production site with a lot of awards, we produced the Cayenne. And all these discussions, why is Porsche not more international? We have too less volume. But one we have in Malaysia, and this is so-called medium knockdown production. We started in the market with 100 cars a year, and now 2,000. It's a very successful project. It's the medium knockdown production is because out of taxes and tariffs there, and so the price of the car is more for the customers, and you had not to give so much discount to be in a competition. That's the production network. And one element is, and it's like in a restaurant, you have to be flexible of the requests, and we are able to produce internal combustion engines on the same line to battery electric vehicles and to so-called hybrids. And this flexibility, not only in the technologies, also in the volume, is necessary today because markets are always changing. And one element in the production sites, in the production, is to have the right digitalization and the right platform. And together with AWS and the Volkswagen Group, we developed the so-called digital production platform. And this platform enables us to bring the monitoring, the steering of all the data in our production sites. And for me, that's the right enabler to use data and AI in our use cases. And for me, it was a great decision several years ago. But now we have to bring more and more AI use cases. And one, from my point of view, is missing. You can do it in all departments, several projects, but for me it's more necessary to make a top-down decision and to make an AI-determined company, to have the right processes, and then you have the great success. All these other elements, small, but the great success is coming if you change your company, and that's behavior, that's attitude of all employees and sometimes of the managers, because they stay too long on their behavior in the past, and that's for me necessary to change this behavior. So I have promised that I bring one or two examples. One is the so-called AI supply chain. We get more than 80% of the parts from suppliers. And with changing programs, it's always necessary to steer this process. And there are 3 or 4 levels. The first is we get all the data, logistical informations, the manufacturing data of the daily doings, and the supplier communications. Second level is then to bring a transparency and a clearness of the data, and then you can support with the so-called KI pilots, the AI assistants, the right base for the decisions. And fourth level is the self-governing AI dispatcher who is acting autonomous and give us the right results and the right decisions. And on the other side, if there is some deviations determined, the AI agent have to operate, but we have secureness on the side. If you don't do it exactly, you have to measure it, then the management and the employees have to do the right things, because every car we don't produce is losing money, and we don't want to lose money, and therefore we have this secureness on the other side. This is one element of AI, and what is for me, I have wondered, we get out some employees out of different departments, and they work only 2 or 3 weeks and implemented this process, and I was astonished how fast does it works and how good the results. And that's for me the motivation to bring every day, every week, new AI use cases in the company and have a lot of joy with these new elements. Second is completely other element out of, we work together with the sales department. We have 1 or 2 end-to-end processes, and one is in my responsibility. I get the orders from the dealers, and I'm responsible in my department. At the end, the dealer get a car. And we have different markets. For example, Europe, the most of the cars of the orders are individual because everyone likes another color and so on, a lot of equipment. And China and US, the dealers make the orders in the main cases. But in the most of the time, they don't fit the customer's requirements, and you have then to discuss and handle and say, okay, a little bit less of money, and then I buy the car. It's not my my request, but I like the car, and I want to get it. And then we collect all this data and make better solutions for the dealers. We reduce the work they have to do to make the orders. And on the other side, with the AI, we collect then the data, the statistical customer analytics, and then we optimize the process. And today, we have a clear autonomous situation, and more than 50,000 orders are made by AI based on the market's request. And we have more than 1.5 to 2 point increasement of revenue because we get more equipment in the cars and so on. And with more equipment, we earn more money. It's always the same. You want to earn money, and you have all to do your doings every day in this direction. And therefore, for me, a second very good example how you can use AI very profitable. But one element I want to tell you, from my point of view, the biggest success for the transformation came out of the employees. You have the right behavior, the right attitude, and therefore we fight. And you all know this high jumper, Greg Fosbury. He decided one time to jump backwards from 1.80 to now 2.42. I don't know exactly. And I always tell my employees, we have always done it in this way. We have to decide every day how we can do it better than yesterday. And because the competitors are not sleeping, they work very hard to fight against us. And in the right side of this chart, you see a chart. A lot of companies, they work with the method, lean production, agile organization, and they jump from central organization to decentral. I say work on the behavior and work on the attitude, and you play Champions League. It's like in the football, a lot of stars are not a good team, but a team with the right behavior is successful. And I'm in the board in VfB, and it's not always, they have not understand this situation all times. Von daher, last Sunday was a terrible situation. Okay. And I only allowed to speak 12 to 15 minutes. I can tell you a lot of good examples. And therefore, I want to summarize. What is our approach? We need technology neutrality. Yes, I like battery electric cars, but others don't like it. And so we have to find a common solution. And second is, flexibility is one of the most important elements in the future. We have to be flexible. Maybe 6 days a week, or sometimes in Bratislava we work 7 days a week, 20 shifts, and the people like it. In Germany, all people discuss, oh, we don't like it, we only want to work 3 or 4 days. And therefore, the flexibility is necessary. And we need a very continuous strategy work to be always in the borders, but not in a red line. You have borders where you are in it. And for me, one of the most elements of the future, and today this event is based on this, AI is a very, for me, a very efficient element to steer a company in the right direction to be successful. And therefore, thank you for your attention. And if you have enough money, we produce all these famous cars. Porsche is always that we can enable you to have a lot of fun and a lot of fun in this driving. And therefore, if you want to buy something, please call me. Yeah, okay.
Wir haben zwar ein starkes Time-Management hier, Just-in-Time ist anscheinend hier auch angesagt, aber eine Frage muss ich noch loswerden und da bitte ich um Ihre Antwort. Sie haben wieder eindrucksvoll gezeigt, dass Sie neue Technologien anwenden. Wir beide haben ja schon einige Auf und Abs in der Autoindustrie erlebt und haben immer denjenigen, die der deutschen Autoindustrie den Abgesang schon vorausgenommen haben, nicht nur widersprochen, sondern wir haben gezeigt, dass es anders geht. Ich darf nur noch mal erinnern an vor 30 Jahren mit dieser japanischen Herausforderung. Was haben wir denn gemacht, um darauf zu antworten? Das ist noch mal meine Feststellung. Wir haben gelernt, was die anderen machen, aber wir haben es nicht imitiert. Wir haben mit Innovationen geantwortet. VW wurde der größte Automobilhersteller der Welt mit der Idee der Modularisierung im Auto. Das muss man sich auch erst mal ansehen. Es gab noch ein paar Krisen dazwischen. Jetzt haben Sie mir gerade zu Beginn des Vortrages gesagt, wir befinden uns in einer schwierigen Zeit. Wie kommen Sie aus dieser Zeit heraus? Das Auto wird zum Computer, es gibt neue Antriebsaggregate. Womit werden Sie antworten? Ist AI oder KI die einzige Antwort oder werden das andere Antworten sein? Ich glaube, die haben Sie teilweise schon gegeben. Das ist das Mindset, das ist das Management, sind die Mitarbeiter, die wieder zu neuen Ideen kommen. Aber was ist Ihr Fazit? Wie kommen wir da raus?
Shall I in English or in German?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. The presentation I have made in English, and I have give you a lot of main messages. Behavior and attitude is one of my leadership criteria, and I always motivate my people to have success. And I have one slogan in German. I handle 30 to more than 40 years in responsibilities. Man muss ins Gelingen verliebt sein, nicht ins Scheitern. In Deutschland speziell wird immer diskutiert, was alles schlecht läuft. Jeden Tag musst du dir auch mal sagen, was alles gut gelaufen ist, und dann hat man wieder Kraft für morgen. Und das ist für meine Motivationsbotschaft. And at the end of the day, to use new technologies in the right way, that's the way how we handle it. Okay?
Thank you.